episode is presented by TimeTrack Go, the simply better employee time clock software that is going to make your life easier. The unique graphical employee time card helps you quickly identify and fix mistakes, cutting your editing time in half so you can go on with your day. TimeTrack Go will not only save you time and money each week, but the easy to understand user interface and the ability to turn a tablet into a time clock will get you and your team up and going in just minutes. And now your hours can go to your favorite payroll systems, including Gusto, ADP Workforce Now, Paychex, and many more. Find out what a simply better solution can do for your business, too. To learn more and sign up for a 14-day free trial, go to www.timetrackgo.com. That's TIMETRAK go.com or call 888-321-9922. Let's go. Welcome back, folks. Another episode of It's About Payroll. What's good, Walt?
Hey, we're back for another week.
Yes,
Some
sir.
more time, man. The year is flying,
dude.
brother. Man, like
it's so crazy.
I feel like it just January just came, and then another January is almost here. Dang.
Yes.
What the heck is going on? That's it, man. So, how about you, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. We're talking about time in the year, right? I know folks don't know this, but I stopped smoking cigarettes a year ago today. Not today, but this weekend. Yeah, you was here, man. When you was here for Labor Day weekend, that was my last time. Yeah, we were celebrating, just hanging out, really, shit. And I hadn't seen him at that, right? We hadn't seen each other in like 6 years.
Yeah, man.
From then, and that was the first time we saw each other in 6 years, even though we've been doing this, right? Because it was like it's so crazy. So it's been a year since then. You know, that weekend marked it. I was like, I did take Chantix to help me stop for, folks out there trying, man, stop. Folks, that shit is horrible. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Yeah. So yeah, marking a year for that. I got on my calendar 1 year. Like, I'm so proud of myself for that. And yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why I'm at with that. What about you, man?
Good, man. Just like I said, what's up?
Look like you cold. Is it cold over there already?
No, I have my AC low. Like, I sleep, I hibernate like when I'm in my house. I like it like on 68, 67 at night. And so, and then plus I sleep with a fan on because I too hot.
One of those
so it's
folks.
Like it's cold down here, man.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. So today we are talking best practice for time and attendance.
Yes.
I'm always amazed. We haven't done this yet. And there's so much, folks. That's why we love being here for y'all. We love doing this. Yeah. Anywho, best practice is time and attendance. And yeah, we're just going to go through some things, folks. Like, basically, this is basically if you're picking a system, if you're thinking about, all right, I may need a new system, right? And you're not doing an all-in-one, right? And we were talking to our friends at TimeTrack Go, and they would have a great team there, customer service team, like really smart folks for time and attendance, and they're breaking down like the history to us and whatnot. And it was amazing episode. Peep that episode. This episode will also be brought to you by TimeTrack Go, and they were teaching us, really, we were learning about the evolution of time clocks, employee time clocks. And man, time clock.
Yeah, you say it was like back in the 1940s, 50s, something like that.
From the 40s, but it was still being used like in the 90s. You know what I mean? Well, it was amazing history. So all that to say, you can have a time system that stands alone. You don't have to use a all-in-one solution like we talk about with Ian Giles, and like we talk about with many payroll professionals. There is no one solution to everything. You know what I mean? Even the big folks, right? It's all about really this phase when you're like, I need something new. What do I get? Because you first have to start with the first one, the needs assessment. So perfect segue, right? the first step in this process is a needs assessment. It's what do we need to do? Well, how does our time need to be tracked? And that even evolved over the years. And we've talked about how companies really got away with a lot of shady crap because of lack of technology, because of lack of sophisticated compliant software, right? And oversight and all the things we talk about on True Payroll Crime, because these employers were doing shady business. It's probably I think it's one of the name of the episodes. And they got away with stealing time really from employees. And there's a little snippet, there's a little saying that I said in there, and it was like, you have to pay your employee and coach the behavior.
Yeah.
You can't not pay your people. So whatever it is, like for again, back to needs assessment, first step in this process, you got to evaluate your business needs. What is it that your business does? Because guess what? If you're a salary shop, meaning everybody in your office is salaried exempt, not overtime eligible, and no need to clock in and out. You get your annual salary divided by your paychecks, right? And there may not be a big need for time and attendance. Maybe you just need the PTO thing, the request. So then it's well, that's all I need. I don't need the punch in, punch out. And again, needs assessment. Consider how big your business is. What are you doing? What is your employee behaviors? I like to call them this is characteristics or whatever, but I always called it, that's how I taught myself, like behaviors and whatnot. And then you want to look at the future. Are you going to be a company that's it? My shop is 10 people and it's never going to grow. Like how we were talking about it, we just need to build a good 5-man crew and we can rule the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or do you have a warehouse where you got a ton of hourly employees and you're growing and you want to keep growing, right? So you got to know where you want to be directionally, right?
And there's a part in here that under the evaluate business needs part that says your specific industry requirements.
Exactly.
Right. So you, like, to your point, you may be in an industry that requires this level of system or time clock, and you got to start from here. But you may be trying to use a system or a solution that isn't quite up to that level of stuff. So that's something that you need to consider as well.
Absolutely. The next point, integration with current systems. Are you trying to force it? What we're saying, you're trying to force it into something, you want that, but it doesn't integrate with your current system. So that's part of this process, is choose something that you can easily integrate your tech stack. The good thing about today, it's a lot easier, and a lot of software companies and SaaS, software as a service companies, have realized that we got to work together. We have to talk. We have to integrate. We have to do open APIs. We have to do these things, because if not, then our customers can't integrate with other softwares in their tech stack that they're using to solve the problems that we can't solve for them. So especially today, back in the day, not so much. It was like, nope, we're the only solution. So they tried to strong arm that. But the way technology's evolved, you have to talk. And that's talking about easy integration. The next one, we're on number 3 now, is ease of use. How easy is this system to use? And that's one of the call outs for Time Track Go, is that it has an easy, user-friendly experience, right? That's what you want. These days, you don't want clunky. And then if you're thinking about a time system, it's not about you and me as a professional. It's not about us as the payroll admins, as the HR admins, right? It's about the customers, how they interact with the system. What type, right? How is your employee going to punch in and out? Is it going to be on their phone? Is it going to be a time clock, manual, a physical piece of hardware at a location? Do you have enough time clocks at that location to support an easy punch-in process? Because now when it's time to come in and go out, think about it, right? If you have 150 people in the office that are hourly and they all work the same hours and you got one time clock, That's going to be a line come 5 o'clock, come in the morning. It's a line now. Is that what you want? Is that the experience that you want them to have? Or, right? Because now that's taken away from productivity. Either they're going to do that at 9 o'clock, they're going to stand on the line, or now they're standing on the line at 8:50, 8:45. Who pays for that time?
Yeah.
All these implications, you got to think of. This is what we said. We got to, and you don't think about it like, oh crap. And it's even tablets. Even if you have a time track go type of solution that can turn a tablet into a time clock, even if you do that, do you have enough tablets at that location? Because one is not enough. It's going to be, right? There's going to have to be a ratio, one for every. Go ahead.
Yeah, like to your point, like that's part of the needs assessment, right? Because it says the number of your employees and the size of your business. Those are things that fall into that bracket, right? So those are all things you need to consider when it comes to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is talking about clocks. Are you in a situation where you want a biometric scan? Because that was all the rage at one point. Biometric. Oh, I can put your finger. You must put your finger. I want your eyeball. Like, it depends, guy, right?
Yeah.
It depends. It's a needs assessment. Do we need this, or do we just need them to punch in and punch out? Are you saving lives? Are you high security, high risk? It all depends on those things, right? Because they have a bunch of different types of systems. You can do biometric, finger, facial, there's smart cards, their mobile apps, and their web-based clock-ins like the tablets we were talking about. All these solutions. Chris over at Time Track Go mentioned something very interesting about how if we were using our phones, is that now a gray area for this device? And is this device now a work device because we punched in and punched out from it? He just brought it up. I haven't researched yet, but it's very interesting. So anywho, just sidebar.
Yeah.
But again, there are a bunch of different solutions to punch in and out. Which one is the right one for y'all?
And do you need more than one solution, right? For how big your business is.
Thank you for saying that. But okay, can you tell me why you would need more than one?
More than one solution?
Yeah.
So like I've seen it where the time clock at a corporate office, the setup there was different. More so than out in the field at one of the locations.
I've seen that.
Because the corporate headquarters, everybody had badges.
Yes.
Once you clock in and out, they swipe. But at the other locations, they actually either put in the code or it was biometric.
Yeah.
So
fair. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, exactly right. Awesome. Next one is real-time data collection. And this, again, so interesting because we did talk about with Brian from Time Track Go. He was talking about how this at one point was in delay. Like you had to wait for your punches. You couldn't just instantly see right? You couldn't instantly see. So anyway, he was teaching us that it once upon a time, it was a delay in this. You collected over that. I was like, wow. Now we can see it real time. What's up? Go ahead.
But just think about that. Think about how far we've come.
Yes.
And I think he said it was like almost a 30-year span, 25, 30-year span.
Yes.
Like from pushing papers and standing in line and punching an actual physical clock to actually everything being digital.
Yep.
Like being able to clock in, having the option
from your
phone, on the solution you have to be able to clock in from your device.
Yep.
It's just
it's an amazing evolution.
Come a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of us have been here for it. What else? So that's real-time data collection, which pretty much is standard right now. Flexibility and customization. Yeah, you want to it depends. This one depends. It depends on what your business is, what you need. It goes back to needs assessment. Do you need the flexibility or maybe not? Reporting should be, yes. This is a very important subject topic for your systems. You want some comprehensive reporting and ideally customizable So you can just look at you want to be able to pull your data however you think of it, however you dream it up. And ideally without having to use like a third party situation. And those are great too, like the Tableau and these type of BIs where you can dump your data there and then reconfigure. But at that point, the further you move your data away from its source, the increased errors, increased situation. You know what I mean? The chance of increased errors increase. There we go. So you want to be careful with that. As we are still talking about auditing, don't forget, folks, we're coming back to auditing, right? We haven't done part 2 yet, right?
Part 2 is still coming. Yep.
We're still, we're coming back. It's a doozy. Auditing is a doozy. And then the last one I'm going to talk about with you folks, and then pass it over to my boy Walt here, is compliance features. Big to do. That's a big to do. You want to make sure the biggest.
Is it?
Yeah, the biggest one is Cali. And we just learned as I was putting Walt onto your camera. Get it back. There you go. I just learned that California is the #1 state. How can I say? The most W-2 employees exist. This is the #1 state that has the most W-2 employees. 18 million W-2 employees in California, which makes sense that they're so aggressive. They're very employee centric, being that they have the most. Easy one for Cali is some of their employees get 8 hours, get overtime after 8 hours in a day. Very employee centric. They also have final pay rules. They're stuff we're going to cover on another show. Don't worry, we got you, Cali.
Yeah.
And basically, does your time system, time and attendance system, have these little bells and whistles, these things that you can build in? Because some of them have it. For specifically California meal break for lunch, they're very aggressive on that law. Folks got to take lunch at a certain time, and if they don't, the company gets penalized. There's opt-outs and waivers and stuff like this, but you have to set it up. You have to document it. It's a whole big to do, right? So if your system can handle this, is what we mean by compliance features. Those type of things, your overtime rules, your regional, local, federal, all those things that you could possibly put into your system. Can it hold it? So that's what I have for you. I'll take it away, sir.
Yeah. All right. So the next one that you should consider when it comes to time and attendance is the mobile capability. So basically, if you have workers who are remote or travel a lot and you require that they clock in, does the solution that you pick have the option for your employees to punch in from their app or punch in via the web? This is a big one, right? The next one is reliability and accuracy. You want the time and attendance system to produce accurate time cards to avoid any discrepancies in payroll. That goes back to making sure that all the compliance pieces are set up, that the OT laws for California, for instance, it's over 8 hours in a day. So that's something you want to make sure that it produces reliable and accurate results for your company. Another thing that's really important, and we talked about this in the past, is security features, right? So this protects against unauthorized access, any data breaches. Like we've talked about the cybersecurity threats, we talked about different information, and a lot of these time clocks, they can hold up personal protected information, right? And if you don't have proper security, your people's information could be at risk for exposure. So that's something you really want to think about as well. Another big thing to think about is the cost. Bottom line, you want to evaluate the total cost of owning it, including the initial cost, the maintenance, any subscription fees, and compare this to any potential savings, or are there going to be any gains in productivity? Those are all things to consider. I found this interesting. They say feedback from the users. And I think a lot of companies may not consider this, right? So the people who are actually clocking in and clocking out, should we really listen to what our employees are saying if it's frustrating them? This episode is presented by TimeTrack Go. the Simply Better employee time clock software that is going to make your life easier. The unique graphical employee time card helps you quickly identify and fix mistakes, cutting your editing time in half so you can go on with your day. Time Track Go will not only save you time and money each week, but our easy to understand user interface and the ability to turn an ordinary tablet into a time clock will get your team up and going in just minutes. And now your hours can go to your favorite payroll systems, including Gusto, ADP Workforce Now, Paychex, and more. Find out what a Simply Better solution can do for your business. To learn more and sign up for your 14-day free trial, go to www.timetrackgo.com. That's TIMETRAK go.com, or call 888-321-9922. Let's go. The vendor reputation and their support service, right? People want to sell you a product at the end of the day. That's their goal, is to sell you on why their product is the best for you. So they'll tell you, hey, about all their bells and whistles. And so you'll get caught up in that. And if you're blown away by a sales pitch, it may cause you not to do more research and say, like, hey, let me see what the reputation is on this vendor. Let me see what the people, doing my due diligence to see, hey, how's their customer support? What's the quality of their customer support? Do they have a solid reputation? What's the frequency of their software updates? Do they have a lot of crashes? Were they ever hacked? Was there ever a data breach at this company? What resources do they offer? They offer training. Those are all things to consider because, like I said, a company can have a lot of the bells and whistles that you need. You may need that extra layer of support. That support may not be up to par for what your company needs. Going back to that word, I think the key word of all of this is the needs the needs assessment. Right.
Yep.
And then another thing you want to consider is the trial period or the demo. That's why it's important to always schedule those, right? Just don't go off of what you see online. Just don't go off of what you read or hear. You actually need to get a walkthrough, put your eyes on the product and see how it actually works.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is backup and data recovery. So you want to make sure that they have great systems in place. So if something goes down, if the system goes down, and it happens, right? We know we've all been in a product that we use online and it goes down. How quick can they turn it around? Right? How quick are they going to get their systems back up? It happens. It's going to happen. Like servers are going to crash. Things are going to happen. Things are going to go down. There's going to be a bug in the system, and they're going to have to do a refresh. That's why we get those notices. No matter what type of software you're in, you get those notices. Hey, we're going to be doing maintenance on the system, right? So that's why those things happen. But does it shut down your whole setup, or if it goes down, or can you still function? So that's really important if you can actually protect yourself against that. And then the next thing is the cloud option versus an on-site option, right? So a lot of these time clock systems, especially Time Track Go, they use cloud technology, right? So you have access to save your data on the cloud and it's protected. And we had a discussion with Chris and Brian from Time Track Go, and they were saying like the cloud is probably the most secure, if not the one of the, if not the most secure than other options that are out there. So it's something to really consider, whether to get a cloud-based system, which can offer more scalability, remote access benefits, or an on-site system, which might give more control over the data. And that you got to decide and figure out which one is more right for your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really figure out if you have multiple locations all over the country, then maybe a cloud situation might be something better for you. You never know, or you might need a little bit of both. Who knows? What you get, right? So that's pretty much it, man. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it, really. Yeah, that's it, man. That was a good show.
Yeah.
And remember, again, there is no one size fits all. Don't believe the salesman that's, I got the one. Don't worry, ours is good for any. Nope, no, they're selling. And I guess one something that they didn't cover here is, or maybe it's in the, what was it? Validate the, do the background, the vetting, the vendor part of it. The reputation. Yes, there you go. But still, part of it is that sales product. It's a classic thing within amongst payroll professionals that they said one thing in the sales, and then when they actually get to it, it's different. A lot of pitfall too. The people who pick the systems are not involving the people who use the systems, and not even the end user, the administrators, the day-to-day folks.
That goes back to the other piece, feedback from users. Like you said,
not yet.
You're not involving the people who are going to actually use it. And so you're not really just looking at their feedback, right?
Yep. We're part of plenty of companies where, and all of us, I'm sure, as payroll professionals, are part of plenty of situations that the company is just looking at the dollar amount. Like, we're going to save a ton of money. Change systems. But they didn't involve the people who use it. And that's what I was thinking about when it said get feedback. It was like, feedback, man, that's a nice to have, because, and I think that's what I was saying when my I was muted. It's a nice to have because most folks don't think about that. They forget about getting the people who punch in and out involved. They're not getting the professionals, administrator support involved. So ideally, you do get both groups involved, but that's a very thoughtful implementation. And hey, I guess you're at this point, you should be very thoughtful and intentional about it. So yeah, so that, and also be careful with the salespeople, because they always sell something. Yep, we can do this, we can do that, and then it's very different when it's implemented. So
you can do it, but it's going to be a manual process on your part. So.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. So yeah, make sure you implement them best practices. Make sure you get in the feedback from the key stakeholders, and that really would, if you're intentional about this process, that would change the game, right? And it's not just, usually it gets thrown on us. We're payroll professionals. We're going to work one day, and the boss pops up, "Hey, we're implementing this system tomorrow. Get ready, yay!" And you're like, "What?
Are they come to work and I had a dream? This is what I want to do."
Ideally, we don't do that. And if you're at a decision-making point right now, or meaning decision like, hey, yes, we're going to look for new systems, read Anita Latink's book, How to Choose Your Next Payroll, because it also covers really how to choose your next HCM, period. Honestly, you could apply her rules to how to choose a next SaaS system. You know what I mean? So if you're anywhere in the HR payroll space and you're trying like, okay, how do I choose this next system? Read through. It's a quick read from great bullet points on what to. And this is from someone who implemented systems day in, day out, as opposed to us, where we get to implement the system maybe once every few years. Because once you got one, that's it. You're locked in for a while. So there's some of us who have never implemented a new system, and that's fine, right? That's the beauty of payroll. Like, we are so dynamic. There's folks that are all over the place, like with our careers, and it's so exciting on where to go. But yeah, what else, man? You got anything, closing thoughts here?
I think it was a good show. I think that as far as best practices and tips for time and attendance, I think it's covered a lot. To your point, when you initially started this off, you said there's so many things here that we touched, even if some of them overlapped a little bit and crossed. There's so many things to consider.
Yes.
When it comes to time and attendance solutions or systems, right?
Yeah.
So I just really think that this is something that we're probably going to revisit in the future, especially as things progress and AI progresses and systems progress. And I think that we're going to be, this is going to be changing. The options may change. I think the whole thing may be able to change as far as the options that you have and how you can freaking access stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can talk to your phone and be like, AI, clock me in.
I just thought that the watch will become involved, right? Exactly. Folks, till the next time, thank you for listening. Peace. We love you.
Peace. Thank you for tuning in to It's About Payroll.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.